Today I'm sharing what I learned from the Kabbalah Center in Manhattan, and also like just being, what mikabel means is to be a receiver. So sometimes we have to literally take ourselves out of the equation that blocks or like that doesn't allow us to do better. And actually our desire itself comes from a place of gvura. So basically, my work it was in Kabbalah 4 of the Kabbalah Center in Manhattan. I was thinking about this at the time a few years ago, that I want to eliminate my fear of death, that I can't just relax and enjoy my blessings and show up calmly with love, healthy boundaries, feeling safe in relationships. I was unable to be emotionally in tune while in groups, women, men, new people, beautiful people, fat people, rich people, poor people, addicts, losers, winners, insane, average, self-sufficient, etc. There was like this sense of anxiety, depression, pain, and then coping with people-pleasing and controlling and caretaking. Effing up, I wrote effing up with the full word, but, messing up relationships because of paranoia. Seeing that I could uplift this, like to validate my fear, and hold it like a baby, trying to get energy from outside, letting it, not letting it flow. Like trying to take in is not letting things flow. So this fear of abandonment triggered is, let me begin feeling secure in my own self, and let me commit that, let's see what happens when I commit to that I won't betray my needs or abandon myself from now on. So the fear of losing myself is is basically self-destructive, and as a chance to be compassionate, the fear is like something that I don't need to be ashamed of wanting to exist as I am, arising in the moment, with or without anyone specific. To be whole, really. So guiding this work of the Creator toward goodness in my perspective, practicing satisfaction, not fault finding in anything that God made to exist. In other words, training myself to see the perfection if I'm not addicted or stopping addicted to being the judge, which means not removing the fear, but feeling the fear, elevating it fully, letting it pass through. Being elastic to the states will help me be elastic to all transient states of people I meet, interact with. And the trusting here, instead of fear, we have trust. Trusting the ripening process, the natural time. I can learn to be patient for it in my own evolution and witnessing something come from nothing all the way to maximum growth, accepting the holy becoming quality of life. An arrival without the story, as at a mature stage, it's going to reveal the joy, the fulfillment, the blessings, as being perfect for the light it grew. And trusting my intuition instead of shaming myself, judging myself for being afraid, which looks like in all different ways, not learning limits or bounds, not giving time for settling, over apologizing, over explaining, proving, needing a bad guy, blaming and accusing, projecting the same insecurities and paradigms that I have onto the other. But I can do better so I started journaling about this for myself, then, the bottom of the barrel people, then stingy in spirit and heart people, then abusive petty tyrants who shame and blame and guilt and invalidate and interrupt and override. The gossip, liars, disgraced people, the people who are parasites and users, or who scream and curse at me, or take me for granted and don't appreciate me or stay positive, or the fault-finding, dissatisfied people. Now, I grew up with some of that kind of people, and also inside myself, taking it in. So these patterns getting in the way of my hopes and dreams, being rooted in the past, basically the people who call me unlovable for being depressed or selfish or controlling or not accepting or negative or self-righteous or paranoid or arrogant or full of pride, stubborn, fear of abandonment, unforgiving, liar, know-it-all, preacher, unmerciful, these were all things that people told me that really hurt me. And I felt hurt. Not that they hurt me, but the things they said hurt me. And staying with that, whether it's true or not, feeling unworthy, feeling unready, feeling not unsupported and used, and the fear of the fear, rage, paralysis, overcompensation. Really just looking for this echo, someone's rapt attention, an inner world space, fulfilling, externalizing my needs from outside, versus the paranoia and the distrust. It's too much. I don't have to do it perfectly. And trying to celebrate the wins more, the tiny ones even that are not huge, the personal overcomings, but self-judgment getting in the way, for too attached to the dreams, not adapting with mistakes or course corrections, denying feelings, not evolving with the realistic or re-evaluative developments, attaching to the commonly understood limits of my culture, religion, or gender, like a white Jewish woman, Forgetting that this too shall pass and attaching to the suffering state, the survival story, the skills. And Ayurveda is actually called the science of enjoying life. Veda or Vita, Ayurveda. And there's this woman, Katie Silcock, she says, the gift of our pain is our truths and our wisdom. The feeling is the blessing or lesson to not make the mistake, the error anymore. And she says these words, prakriti, which is life, and purusha, which is being. So in the space, the container for life, we might call it the ether, we have water, air, fire, and earth. This is from Sefer Yetzirah. The ether is like the spirit. So Sefer Yetzirah also, not just Katie, obviously, we heard this all over the place. I'm very interested in elements. It's called elemental Kabbalah. Air is changing and movement. Earth is stability and immovability. Fire is heat, unsteadiness. And water is adaptability, lubrication. And these are our playthings in life. So when we go into ourselves, we could say like food is energy that's consumable. We eat by giver and smell. So bones is like a meditation. Air is like metabolism, the heart, the belly, the eyes. And water is going by the concentration gradient, right? We know like how diluted or potent something is by water. So when we feel others' emotions, are they mine? So again, fire as food, as energy. Like it gives us energy and it has a smell, we know it's food. And bones is like the meditations, the focus, the heavy, the grounding. And air is like the metabolism, things that are just like changing, and it relates to our heart, our belly, our eyes. And finally, feeling others' emotions or our own emotions is water. So in a high intensity free spirit is whatever we put out comes back. Nothing worse or better than us out there. So everything I shared here is not to condemn anyone. It's to say we're all working through these patterns. My father used to write me letters. He didn't know conflict resolution or feelings. He would like write out a few things like to try to get me to see logically his way. But I was too young to like try to be his diplomat, and I had to learn how to write things. I really want to express better. I'm learning how to do that in a mature and refined way. But there's this whole idea of power struggle is really pushing the button, like to get power. And the attitude of not, he made me do it, she made me do it, they made me do it, but me made me do it. In other words, we made it. We is the one that made it here. To be able to say made me do it. We. If I'm willing to take accountability, we could have a we. So then we made it. We made it. That's the attitude. That's a life-saving grace. We made it till now. We made it. We made it through everything. There's a rebelliousness and a fear of disapproval that are from the same iceberg's tip. Like, in other words, somebody saying like, I want to be okay as I am. So they might rebel against other, or they might be so afraid that they people please the other. So we see it's really like othering is mostly in the huge chunk of the iceberg, just a little bit sticking out. Anyway, there's this free, wild, spacious, explorative, permissive, generous, passionate, independent, secure, self-soothing, self-attuning, self-reliant, adaptive, adventurous, lover, ready with laughter, natural and thoughtful and kind, versus there's this version that has to handle being called dog shit, slut, lower than low, annoying, disgusting, garbage, pestilence, sex obsessed, sick, talk too much, incubus ridden. These were abusive things that were said to me. So there's this mutual non-merit based on acceptance. So the cream of the crop when it comes to intimacy. In other words, and I'll finish with this, acceptance that there's this, neither of us are worthy. It's not merit based. So it's not about worth. It's about just, it's the best of the best is that present awareness that you're okay as you are. And I'm looking forward to sharing tomorrow about Gevura, where the desires come from, where the power comes from, as taught by David Guillen from the Kabbalah Center. Have a blessed day. Bye.